But as long as there was a chance to continue, I tried to stick to the plan. I was in biotech, but I was always very much into computer games, not only as a consumer, but also as producers. We did not yet manage to find a technology we hadn't seen before in the last 30 years.
How did you convince the investor to back you up? Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is iGaming History, episode 11. I have the absolute pleasure of being joined today by Eberhard Dürrschmid, founder of Greentube and Golden Whale. Eberhard, willkommen im iGaming History.
Dankeschön. Thank you very much. Nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining this little project that I'm working on. Eberhard, so you have a very, very, very long history in online casino. I want us to go back a little bit to where it all started, and we build it up to where it is today. Yeah,
Okay.
Vienna in the 90s. You're starting your first company when I'm 6 years old, by the way. Tell me about the spirit of the time and everything that was going on back then.
Okay, yes, thank you. Great question. Well, back then, I went to Vienna probably around the time when the Iron Curtain fell.
Mm.
And Vienna had a certain vibe to that in the beginning of the 90s until the middle of the 90s. Everything was changing. Yeah, we are not on the outer rim of Western Europe anymore, but it's grows together.
Yeah.
And a lot of people coming to Vienna, and there's a lot of things going on as we are now in the middle of the continent suddenly. A very interesting phase. And then being on the university, we were the first to get relatively reliable lines into the internet, which was new back then. And all of this together made it very exciting what was happening. And it became very clear that this will be changing the world to a certain extent. Everything's growing together and connected suddenly. And this was a very interesting phase, I would say.
So when you created Greentube, it was 98, the internet was still dial up. How did this all happen? How did you reach this conclusion that, oh, I'm going to do online
Mhm.
casino games?
Yes, well, I did something else professionally back then. I was in biotech, but I was always very much into computer games, not only as a consumer, but also as producers too much. But fiddling around with my first little games on the Commodore machines back when I was 14. And I was interested in connected gaming very early, which at this time meant cables. Cables you would like cross your student's home to be able to play against somebody at a different level of the housing or something like that. And then it became very clear that this possibility to connect everybody gaming across the world, basically, depending on latency, was a huge change also to this business, and a complete different way of distributing and experiencing games. And well, basically, I thought, if not now, when then? When this massive change happens in an industry that has been there for quite some time in the 90s. When would I then do something like that? And this came to the conclusion: let's go look for money. It was the time before the bursting of the dot-com bubble. Even for complete greenhorns as we were back then, it was possible. So you had a shot at getting some investment money going, and
Mhm.
this is what
So,
we did. Mm.
so is because everywhere where I read or every story that I get, it's about how people were raising money during .com
Mm.
in the States. How was it in Austria? Like, how would you say the mentality is different?
Well, yes, it was difficult. I think it's better now, but it was very difficult in the end.
Hmm.
It boiled down to two options in Austria, and not so much more around Austria, because as we were very young, direct from university, no specific experience. So we had two options in Austria. We chose one of those, and this is all we got. And we also stuck with this investor basically across two smaller rounds later on, and until the very sale to the Novomatic group at the end. Mm.
How
At least in there. Mm.
how did you convince the investor to back you up?
The investor back then was a person that had been involved in part of the Bwin success story. uh,
Uh-huh. Okay.
and therefore, which was by accident maybe, had a bit of a soft spot for the gaming topic. uh, And well, there we were with a system that could eventually even be used in Bwin. We worked with Bwin later on.
Yes.
So there was some connection to success already had, which made things a bit easier.
All
Mm.
right. Did you always stick to the original idea with GreenTube, or did it evolve into something completely different?
Yes, it evolved very much. So we started in ads-based gaming, which didn't work. We went to subscription, which worked a bit.
Hmm.
We then had again a stint in ad-supported gaming, which worked very well. She Challenge was a broad success game that we sold into a lot of countries for media companies. And then we went into skill gaming, uh, which already involved complex multiplayer scenarios and rake-based revenue systems. And this is when we got our first license. The first licenses back then were in Malta in Europe. So we had a Maltese license. And then we went directly into iGaming from that, because we realized that the multiplayer things that we are doing were very complex already, and technology heavy. And it was even easier to go into classic iGaming casino with better chances for customers in B2B and revenue.
Was there a time when you wanted to quit or you felt unsure?
No, I can't think of a moment where I really would have wanted to quit. I thought often, well, you could have gone some easier route, but as long as there was a chance to go on, and the first few years were quite hard, I must admit, but as long as there was a chance to continue, I tried to stick to the plan.
All right. Tell me about Sky Challenge, because it seemed to have been a wild national
Yes, feature.
obsession
Yeah.
in 2005, I think. How did
Yes.
it happen? What was it?
Well, we always wanted to cooperate with large media corporations, as we did not have ad budget, and there was some appetite with the media companies to get the piece of the internet cake, and games came in handy because they draw a lot of audience quite quickly if they are good.
Mhm.
And as you know, Austrians are quite into skiing.
Yes.
And the Austrian television has a long history in producing very sophisticated reports about skiing, and having helmet cameras and all sorts of things to make it look as spectacular as possible.
Mhm.
And well, basically, I came there with the idea of building a digital twin of what you're already doing,
Right.
and build the same advertising space into that, and then market it alongside the real thing. uh.
Mhm.
And I spare you the details, but in the end, it worked out. It was a completely digital distributed game, and we sold it not only in Austria, we sold it across Europe, and even to Canada.
Mhm.
Wherever skiing is a thing, was a potential customer for us back then.
Mhm. So in 2010,
Mhm.
Novomatic acquires GreenTube.
Mhm.
What is that like? Like, how does it feel for your creation to be part of something else, to go into something else?
Well, the decision to do something, to sell the company, or at least connect it to something bigger, was already done. I think I decided this for myself at least 2007, 2008. Yeah? To build the roots into something that could expand more than we could do ourselves without at least diluting us completely. Yeah?
Mhm.
And then the strategic routes, looking for strategic investor would be the most interesting option. And to answer your question, so when it then came to concluding, signing the deal and doing everything to make it happen and make it work together, I think I was very prepared, and I went with the flow of the process. The next step after you sell a company is to make use of the synergies as good as possible, which went very well. And then change the company into something that is maybe an island in the beginning, and connect to the larger structure and be a part of the usable and valuable part of this larger structure. This was then the task in the 5 years after the deal, when I still stayed on board.
All right. And
Mhm.
after that, you could have retired, but instead you still went back to startups and data. What's driving you? What drove you then, and what is driving you to still keep doing this?
Yes, well, it's my motivation never has been directly connected with money. Money is very nice, and it's the physical check mark that you did something right, and you something what you built has worked. And building things that work and create value or make things better, more interesting, or producing better revenues is always something that has interested me. And I once described it as hearing the hum from the engine room. Uh, when everything when everything is in order, and it creates something and it's running smoothly, I enjoy this very much. And searching for those moments and searching for creating something that can do something like this, this has driven me ever since, I think. Mm.
I think you invested in things that were also non-gaming related, right? So I remember
Mhm.
reading about food delivery, for example. Can you
Mhm.
tell us about some non-gaming ventures? Like, why did you feel that you should invest in them? And maybe some lessons that you learned from that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, in the later stages of Greentube and also shortly after that, for sure there was money to be invested, um,
Mhm.
and I decided to diversify in certain asset classes. Smaller part of those were of these asset classes were startups, and my lesson from that is that I'm not good in watching from the sideline,
Okay.
and that it's not good to build too many context switches into your life if you intend to think deeply about things. Yeah?
Okay.
And apart from that, the rest is game of chance.
Mhm.
If you just spray and pray. Um, uh, Investing in some things like the food delivery stuff or a sensor tech startup were also driven by pure technical curiosity. Yeah? And it I didn't invest millions there. It was also to get access to the story and understand what's happening exactly. Um, in the end, I enjoyed by far more to build something I can overlook, and I have a creative influence on, I would say. Mhm.
All right. Creative. Why do you say creative influence?
Well, if you're talking innovation and new technologies and technology startups, It's always a mixture of understanding technology and producing technology, but also the creative part is how to mold it into the demand that is there in the market, produce product market fit, and then for sure how to sell it. Also, what is the story around the product that you then sell to the market? So this is a lot of creativity involved, even if you say technology. Good technology involves large amount of creativity to be innovative.
Okay. So after that, you founded Golden Whale in 22. You said that machine learning would redefine gaming infrastructure.
Mhm.
Can you tell us how you thought about that? What do you mean by this?
Okay. Beginning in the beginning, I must say I've been in early neural networks before Greentube, in
Hmm.
my biotech phase before Greentube, and I saw back then already in multidimensional nonlinear problems, there's a lot to win by early neural networks back then, and generally speaking, with machine learning methods in comparison to what humans can do with problems like that. And so the idea to connect gaming space with machine learning methods has accompanied me over the years, but we had other problems there and different priorities, rightfully so, as in this phase of the market, distribution was so very important. And now moving into that again, was I think the signal was AlphaFold. I've mentioned this before. When I saw that now there's models that are capable of uh, building three-dimensional structures of sequences of amino acids with a precision that was unthinkable a few years before. And this brought me to the conclusion that after years of where I think machine learning was a lot of throwing hardware at the problem with very similar foundational model structures, now we come to a point where those models evolve so quickly that it makes sense to try and do something like that. In the gaming space is especially interesting because we get so much human machine interaction data and so diverse ones with all the gaming genres you can imagine. You can basically rebuild the world in games, and it's happening now with Roblox and Minecraft.
Hmm.
And so there's a diversity of problem descriptions where you get data on. You know? This is beyond imagination 10, 20 years ago. So this is the moment where data engineering, model construction, and data volume meet each other in an interesting spot in time where
Hmm.
it makes sense to enter this space and say, okay, we got the capabilities now to solve problems in a way we could not do a few years ago, and it will only get better from here. And this is the phase that we entered, and we now show it already with Golden Whale. There's across the board from different operations globally, we can say there's 400 500% uplift potential easily in almost every iGaming operation we analyze, as the decision making processes are still by far too slow and not using the immense amount of data that is already available.
You said that innovation isn't about features, but it's about infrastructure. Can you explain this to me?
I think this is not fully cited. Um, well, the innovation that we build is a combination of machine learning and features and iGaming infrastructure.
Mhm.
This is also not directly tied to innovation, but usability. Uh, so, if I got a brilliant solution on a machine learning level, I still need this in a package that can A, run at high loads and high data throughput, and B, attached to any tech stack that is in the market. So we want something that is a module and attaches to existing tech stacks, because this is our larger customers have long-standing systems that need to connect to these decision-making modules and simply consume the signal that comes from that. And so this is what I mean is when I say it's not only about the idea and the solution in itself, it also has to be an infrastructure component. We always say we want to be the Gore-Tex of iGaming. You build us into anything.
Okay. And do companies understand this?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Now it's we founded briefly before 1.5 years before ChatGPT approximately.
Okay.
We were stealth a little longer, but after ChatGPT, the willingness to tackle the topic and see where it leads your very operational company has skyrocketed. You cannot ignore it anymore, as any C-level person has to see where the company can adapt, where they can reap benefits, where efficiency and automation can profit from what we do. And there are immense possibilities as we speak.
Would you say that the release of ChatGPT helped with the awareness?
I think it was about time that something like that came. This is also the reason we were there already. We knew there is a moment now. There's something happening.
Mhm.
And for sure, there's some big thing coming out of the American nexus of technology and data services. And
Mhm.
so here we are. And yes, as I said before, it helped a lot, because even the last one that told us maybe that AI could be some kind of abracadabra and leave me alone with that. The last one had to accept, well, no, it's a real thing, and you have to look, listen, and learn, and understand what this means for your business, or your job, or whatever.
Help me understand exactly what you do at Golden Whale, because from what you explained to me, it's like you have this decision making model and
Mhm.
you basically connect it to an operator, and
Mhm.
it pulls from the data from the operator and helps them make
Yep,
better decisions
exactly.
in a
Yes.
nutshell. And
I mean,
how, sorry.
no, no. Basically, your explanation was completely correct, and also the general way you put it makes it even better to understand what we are doing. A simple example are CRM systems. There are a lot of CRM systems in the market, as we know. A lot of them are very complex to handle, and they involve some form of AI and ML. Everybody has to put this on the marketing list. But what we see now is that these generic models underperform a lot, are difficult to optimize if ever, and take by far too much human resources on the operator side to run efficiently. And so what we are doing, we are circumventing this and attaching to your system, ingesting data, as you said, and then pushing back signal directly in the systems that you use as an operator to communicate with the player. And this makes the integration almost a no integration effort. We just need data access and some way to put the signal into where the messages are sent. It's a very easy operation, and lifts the burden of the teams to try to wrap their hand around a 200-dimension customer journey optimization, which never works. You have a multi-dimensional problem and you try to do A/B tests. This is just gut feeling in a nicer code.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what you need is a decision-making module to gobble up this 200-dimension problem and put out some relevant educated guesses. Prediction is always an educated guess with a certain probability,
Mhm.
and then work your operation on top of those predictions. And the benefits are huge. It's really amazing. It amazes me that we get 400, 500% uplift with the incentives, and that monetization can easily be optimized with models around when to send which campaign to whom. and we get great results, double the growth rates of our partners, and we have sold now already on almost every continent of the world, and continue to grow. So it's a nice phase we're in. Mm.
So how does this look at a very simple level? It's like I'm a player, I come onto the operator side.
Mhm.
I probably like 200 things, the 200 dimensional problem, but based on how I react with the website or something, your system processes that and understands what to give me.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Mhm.
I'm happy that I'm getting this so straightforward because I'm just trying to put it all
Yeah.
together in my head now. But
Mhm.
it sounds like a beautiful thing. And if you're integrating everywhere, then it means that it is working everywhere.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep. We have 300 plus integrations under our belt as a team.
so
And
300 operators you're working with.
not yet, no, but in the team where we did the way we integrated things with this team that is now working in Golden Whale, we have 300 plus integrations in 30 different jurisdictions, or plus, 30 plus jurisdictions even across the world. So we did not yet manage to find a technology we hadn't seen before in the last 3 years. Yeah, so from the last 30 years. Yeah, and in the end, the methods of data engineering and data connectivity have improved so much, it's getting easier by the day. Yeah.
Super nice. Help me understand the AI trend, because now what's basically happening is that everybody's putting an AI, strapping AI next to their product, and that's it, and that's how they go and sell it into the market.
Mhm.
It's definitely because it become a buzzword. Yeah.
Mhm.
How do you separate what's true innovation, like true good product, from all the hype?
Yeah. Well, basically, you have to look at the thickness of the value that is added by any company. There's a huge trend of slapping some LLMs on top of products, and now you can interact in natural language with our database. Yeah, great, yeah, interesting, but this is a commodity almost already, and I'm not sure if it's always helpful beyond your um, booth at the event where you show it an image. Was some board level presentations,
Mhm.
but what is the thing that this tools or the problem that this tool is solving? Is it really a problem, or is it just looking for a solution, looking for a problem? And there's a lot of Gen AI buzz going on with very unfinished products that look nice at some demos, but not functioning correctly if you try to use them.
Mhm.
And then there's large accumulations of data that really move something, that move the needle massively. Like, for example, code generation now is massive. The way you can produce code today is significant, and the quality is improving daily.
Mhm.
And to check whether this is real or not. Sometimes it's enough to look at the level of value creation. Sometimes you simply have to test to see whether the claim fits with the outcome, or if it's just a claim, and if you go off-road just 2 centimeters, it's not working anymore.
Mhm. Mhm. I wanted to ask you this question in a different manner, but now that we're having the conversation, I'll rephrase it. You've been in the industry, like you've seen every major shift, yeah, from like PC to mobile, all the accumulation of data now with the AI.
Mhm.
Would you say that the industry is going towards singularity, where we conquered the world, we have all the data, we have the players, now we're getting the data, we're super efficient with it, and they will know how what makes a person gamble?
Mhm. Well, nobody knows exactly when the singularity will arrive, but we are for sure closer to it than just 2 years ago, and the speed has been mind-boggling.
Mhm.
And for our industry, to be very specific, we already see it developing into the direction of autonomous strategies for autonomous go-to-market strategies and automatisms that have been unthinkable a few years ago. So
Mhm.
yes, I see a situation where a lot of things will be better solved by doing decisions automatically.
Mhm.
And the next step will then be measurement, because what we can produce in signal depends on the quality of the measurements of the input data we receive in the beginning. And so the next step will be what can we measure so we get the best results.
The team in Golden Whale, yeah,
Mhm.
you are working with some people you've been working together for what, 20 years,
More,
almost
yeah. Mhm.
years. How do you get a group of people to stick together for such a long period of time?
Yes, well, I like those people personally very much, and I like their approach to work ethics and how you work together. And most of all, I like the way they efficiently solve problems and execute. And this for decades now. I've known some of them 25 years now,
Mhm.
and we work together quite intensively in this time. We treat each other with respect also since decades. And I think this is all it needs in the end. And the output has been phenomenal, I would say, yeah, because even already back in the days in Greentube, we worked together in a way that was very efficient and put out great results. And this was also the reason after I then decided after a short break that I want another company. I went to those people and asked them, as they basically were the best uh, co-workers or colleagues I had over the last decades.
From a personal perspective,
Mhm.
what do you feel have been the sacrifices that you needed to make to build everything that you've built so far?
Time, yeah. So there's a limited amount of time that you can be awake and do something interesting or meaningful. And there's a huge amount of other things that will also interest me
Hmm.
and also or could be fun to do. Yeah?
Yes.
And so it's always a decision where to put this time budget. Yeah?
Mm.
Because sometimes it may also be nice to travel for fun and not for business events.
Yes.
Or to do something completely different. There's a lot of things that come to mind, and you have to decide what is the best connection of making a living, doing something interesting, and spend your time in a way I don't want to regret spending my time if I look back 10 years after. And I think until now, this has come together quite nicely.
What do you think was the nicest moment in your journey so far? That moment where you said, "This is why I do it."
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot of different moments. As I said before, whenever I see now it's clicked, everything has clicked into gear and
Mm.
it's running. We had several billion ski races done across our service back then. It was unimaginable. And then we connected with Novomatic and had some great brands we could use, and we had 6,000% plus growth rates in certain areas of our business. It was hard to keep up building and expanding everything to just cope with that.
Mm.
And for sure, the moment that the deal came to a conclusion and we had a good partner and we saw this worked together, these are all moments that I remember fondly. Or very beginning, the first interactive card game we switched on at 2000, and suddenly in the night there were 50 concurrent players, and the next evening there were 200 concurrent players. And these are moments you won't forget, and it's always something clicking and beginning to work in harmony. I would say are the most interesting moments. Mm.
Can you tell us about a moment that changed you, not as an entrepreneur, but as a person?
Yes, loyalty shifts, I would say,
Mm.
when you experience that you rely on somebody and you build something, and then there's changes in loyalty. This is something I take to heart quite easily. Yeah, I think this has changed me. Yeah. Apart from that, I quite try to sail across what's happening, because a lot of the things that are happening I cannot influence, and I stick to the things that I can influence.
Is there anything that I haven't asked you, but you think it's important for anybody watching this or for future generations to know?
Oh, wait, this is broad. Well, I always would ask anyone to think very carefully of how they spend their lives. Yeah?
Mhm.
And I don't want to say follow your passion, because this is a difficult thing. Not everybody is good at what the passion draws you to, but it should be an interesting combination of your skills, your talents, and what is needed in the world. um, and in a globally speaking, I think as long as you are strong enough to be in a situation you feel self-sufficient, you're normally also a better person towards other human beings. And this is a status everybody should try to hold throughout the life. Yeah.
Eberhard, the magic question. How would you like to be remembered in iGaming history?
Oh, this is an easy one. Somebody who built useful things.
Okay, straight to
Mhm.
the point.
Mhm.
Very
Yeah.
straight to the point. I look forward to having a drink with you sometime in the future, and you tell me the golden whale is growing at 6,000%.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Hope we have this moment soon.
Eberhard, thank you very much for your
Thank you
time,
for your time.
for
Yeah.
your work. Thank you for everything that you've done. Looking back at your story, I think you have an amazing combination of, how do I put that? So you started very bravely. You were there at the right time. You got eh, all the right experiences, but you also had the passion for machine learning since before that. So now it's like you're the right person, right team at the right time. So
Mhm.
you can freely capitalize on the momentum.
Yeah. I hope so. I think we are in a good spot, and the growth would confirm that this is so. Mhm.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you to everybody watching. And I guess this is going to come out before ice. So we'll see everybody at ice. Okay. Take care.